up for, and in Rwanda. He said, when the world and the U.S. ignored genocide in Rwanda, hundreds of thousands of people died. And could history be repeating itself? Many experts believe that Nigeria could implode. This would destabilize the surrounding countries and send millions of refugees into Europe and beyond. The Irish singer Bono actually said, if it unravels in Nigeria, it will be an existential threat to Europe and the world beyond. There are 350,000 to 400,000 Nigerian Americans who are concerned over the fate of their relatives back in Nigeria. The challenges facing Nigeria are great. However, it is my firm belief that the United States and other Western nations have a vested interest in confronting one of the worst crises of our times. And keep in mind, we have sent millions and millions of dollars to Nigeria. Nigeria has been fractured, and many people think it has been forgotten. So we have genocide by Boko Haram, genocidal activity by the Fulani militants, rampant hunger. I look at the World Food Program statistics with regard to the country. Little or no education in parts of the country where young kids are getting no education. Sexual trafficking, there was a report of 15,000 women and girls being sexually trafficked alone in southern Italy. Massive government corruption, human rights abuses by the military, mass migration out of Nigeria, and we see really very little action taken by the West, and we see very little coverage by the Western media, except for the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times. Just this morning, I read a report from World Magazine that says the following. It said Nigerians have left their country for the United States and Europe for decades. But in 2018, Pew Research Center took a poll in Nigeria to find out how many others might leave. 45% of the Nigerian population said they expected to live in the next 5 years.
Arrogance that the problems that were so obvious 10, 15 years ago will just suddenly go away, and nobody took proactive action. What got us here is inability to see from a national perspective that we were faced with a problem that was so deep, so obvious for those who cared to see. What got us here is the as Congressman Wolf said a moment ago, is the Western press refusing to acknowledge that there are genocidal activities in Nigeria. The Western press refusing to acknowledge that there are even problems in Nigeria. What got us here is confused narrative. People saying everything else except addressing the real problem of how we got to where we are. What got us here is the opening up of Libya and the chasing away of ISIS from Europe and allowing them to come into Libya and down into Niger, down into Mali. What got us here is the refusal to acknowledge that spiritual issues, that there are religious roots for the problems that we have in Nigeria, that indeed Christians are being persecuted. Of course, Muslims are being killed as well. Moderate Muslims are being killed. Christians are being killed. We have failed to acknowledge that there is a religious issue that is involved in what is happening. So if we want to go to the bottom of why and how we got here, we must ask the leaders, the political leaders who have buried their heads in the sand and have refused to acknowledge
for what they already have planned for the future. They already know what they want, and they would go out there and even create more havoc. So this is my suggestion, and I want to see what you guys think about it. Thank you very much.
Moderator?
Oh, I believe he wanted
to. Why don't you ask another question? And I think he makes a good point, but why don't you ask another question?
Our next question is from Ray Iminu, who's in our audience and has a question. Ray, if you can go ahead and unmute your microphone, you can ask our panel your question. And when folks do have questions, if you can get to them quickly, that way we can make sure that everybody has a chance to get to theirs. Mr. Iminu?
You're on mute, Mr.
Okay.
Iminu.
I think we're having some problems with Mr. Iminu's microphone, so we'll go on to our next question, and that comes from Kenneth Okobene. Kenneth Okobene has a couple questions. Kenneth, if you'd like to pick one of them and go ahead and unmute your microphone, you can ask our panel your question.
Sure. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
I'm Ken, calling from Philadelphia. I've been in the US since about 19 years now. I came here as a student. I'm originally from Jos, which, as we all know, it's the hotbed for extremism. I have a two-part question. The first question, basically, what ways can Congress engage more with Nigerian civil society organizations? Because from experience, once you dialogue with the government, they usually cover a lot of human rights. So what steps are you guys taking to seek data information directly from the CSOs? I think a direct engagement.
I have changed my internet first.
Can I go ahead?
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Sure. So basically, in summary, how can the Congress engage more with CSO rather than engaging the government directly? Because we've seen the last 6 years, it's been a very nepotic government in there. So they've been,
Nigeria is fighting both a religious war and a tribal war. And the religious war is from the people who want to implode and put in the jihadi, faction and way of life, as well as a tribal war where we are seeing the Igbos and the Yorubas and Hausas all saying that they want to separate from Nigeria. I feel like the first things to be on the agenda should be, how do we disintegrate Nigeria? How do we make Nigeria everyone goes back to their own particular space? Looking at the history of Nigeria, you would see that the founding fathers of modern day Nigeria never wanted Nigeria to work, and that was why they put Nigeria the way it is. And we have, we've spoken about how much people migrate to other parts of the world and develop other parts of the world. Most of the people who do this are the Igbo speaking tribe of Nigeria. They're the ones who are most concerned about development and progression. But there are some sect of people in Nigeria that are seeking to hold Nigeria down, and you've mentioned them. We all know them, and they're the Fulanis. They're the ones who are hell-bent on making sure that Nigeria becomes South Sudan or becomes Syria, and just ensure that the caliphate of militants, there will be a hybrid of militants that will be sent all the way from Nigeria to other parts of West Africa to cause even more havoc for Africans. So I would say this, and this is just my suggestion, it doesn't have to be followed, but I would say that right now, all hands should be on deck to see how we can disintegrate Nigeria. How can we ensure that people who are shouting or clamoring for Biafra, people who are clamoring for Oduduwa, people who are clamoring for whatever they are clamoring for, how can we ensure that they can go back and create their own nations in Nigeria and see how those people can develop collectively as a group or as a tribe? Because if not, if we continue to say that we want to go in and create a system whereby we help people in power, they've already infiltrated. We will only the Americans will only be giving the secrets to the enemies, and that's the fact.
What do you think
we would
will
only
happen
be
in Nigeria if nothing is done? And could the country actually implode?
Yes, it can, and it will. I'm sorry to say that. I am not Islamist. Nigeria can implode. It will implode. What has gotten us to this position is the denial on the leadership, is the denial on the elite that too big to fail. Nigeria is not too big to fail. When you have governors crying, making open statements, pointing accusing fingers at the president that the security situation is bad. Now they are robbing people in traffic yes, Nigeria can and it will. Unfortunately, in the years that have been involved in this, Congressman, you know that we have pushed, I have joined you to many meetings to push for an envoy for Nigeria. We produced this book. This is a 310-page book on the silent killings in Nigeria. It is real. It is real. There is an urgency for the United States, the British government, the French government, the German government to do something quickly as possible. And I think the best way, including doing the visits by Congress people, is for the President of the United States to appoint an envoy as a matter of urgency. What Nigeria is faced with now is existential. It is existential. And if Nigeria implodes, right now, Chad just lost their president. Niger just suffered a coup. Benin is unstable. Cote d'Ivoire is unstable. Mali is unstable. Cameroon, the man there